Honorable Chance Kabaghe, welcome.
Thank you very much, Josephine. I really feel welcome and I'm at home.
I told you your name could fall anywhere. We just can't say Kabaghe. We need to say Kabaghe.
Actually, according to our history, we originated from Uganda around the Lake Victoria. So that's why we have the GHE. Yes, when I'm here, I'm at home. People call me Kabaghe. But when I'm in Zambia, it's Kabaghe. So the G is silent.
Okay.
So I feel at home. Don't I look like a Ugandan?
I already told you you're one of us. I'm going to try very hard to stick to Kabaghe. What have you not done? Your CV is extensive. I'm looking at all the work that you've done in agriculture for the last, I don't know how many years.
All my life.
What are you most proud of?
I think, first of all, my beginning was in the village. So we're farming, like any small-scale farmer anywhere in Africa. And somehow I developed the interest of understanding the business of agriculture. So I finally specialized as an agriculture economist after my first degree, which was pure economics. And I've been very comfortable with, that arena because it is the business of agriculture or the economics of agriculture, which unfortunately many people think they are farmers or they are agriculturists, but they are not because they are not really farming as a business. So I'm very comfortable and fortunately I've excelled through the rank and file. I've been at the right top where, I was a university lecturer, doing the theory work. Then I became now the chief executive of the Food Reserve Agency for Zambia. And a lot of people in the region came and learned from Zambia on how you can run a food reserve agency in a more economic and resilient manner. So I introduced all those systems. Then I headed the Agriculture Policy Research Institute that you're talking about, the Endeavour Agriculture Policy Research Institute. I'm so happy that I was a founding member of the institute. And after clocking almost 13 years with the institute, I retired a couple of years ago, but they retained me as a policy, advisor. And also having been, a minister, a member of parliament, and really I've chaired so many agriculture, institutions. You just mentioned the fact that I do chair indeed the biggest seed company in Africa, which is, SEEDCO. I'm chairman of SEEDCO Zambia and indeed chairman of SEEDCO East Africa, which is basically Tanzania, Kenya, this country, Uganda, Rwanda. We are also now moving into Burundi. So I'm chairing East Africa, all these 5 countries for SEEDCO, which is a key seed company for not only Southern East Africa, but the whole for Africa.
So I'm going to come down into your roles in the fertilizer space and in seed. Are you a practicing farmer yourself?
Yes. So how do you start selling seed? You are chairing a seed company. You are chairing the biggest fertilizer company, Save for Dangote in Nigeria, which is United Capital, fertilizers. Yes, I'm a big farmer for both livestock and also, cropping. We have the luxury in Zambia of land and also small population, and like what I've discovered, in your country here. So I've got thousands of hectares of land and thousands of animals, and I do grow both maize and soya as a rotation. So I'm comfortable, hands-on, in between management, and also right at the top as chair of 2 key institutions in any agriculture industry, which is the seed industry and also the fertilizer. Correct.
I asked you earlier what of all of the things that you've done, what you're most proud of.
Two things that I'm really proud of. One, that I was the first chief executive of the Food Reserve Agency. And it's not easy to run a food reserve agency. Start doing the nuts and bolts, and you see it grow to a level where it is admired by everybody. And I was a young person, that time. So I'm very proud that I was a founding member of that institution. The second one really is the policy arena. Zambia today has become the biggest exporter of seed, the whole of Africa. Before it used to be South Africa as the biggest exporter of seed. Now it is Zambia. And I'm proud that I was part of the team, if not a leading person, to where Zambia decided to have these policies that facilitated people to invest in seed and open borders for your seed to go out of the country once to satisfy the local market. As we're talking, Zambia now has over 35 seed companies. Wow. We are all competing in a very clean manner and, of course, also exporting to the region. I was at the center of this development and policies that led to where Zambia is today. So those two make me extremely proud, much more than, seriously speaking, being a member of parliament and being a minister.
Yes, I've had the stories behind that statement you've just made. Your current role at Indaba Agricultural Policy Research Institute, you're a policy advisor.
Yes.
What does that mean? And well, before you even answer that, tell me about this institute.
Okay, so Indaba Agricultural Policy Research Institute, Indaba basically means coming together, discussing things. It's a common Bantu name. So it's a place where you discuss policy issues. You do research and you come together and then advise, government and other partners on agricultural policy, issues. So it's a top institute in Zambia and the region. We have some of the top, researchers who will not employ anybody below a master's degree in that institution. So mostly it will be an agricultural economist and very strong at your statistics, quantitative, methods. And of course, now we have also employed climate, change specialists. And so it is a multifaceted institution, strong at research work, strong at advisory, messages throughout from the top, right from the president, State House, to the bottom at farmer level. So we are the to-go institution when you want data on agriculture, when you want some policy advice. In fact, almost, I don't know which cooperating partners in Zambia would not contact or talk to IAPRI, which is Indaba Agricultural Research Institute, for advice on agricultural policy issues now, including climate change.
Yes, I was going to ask you if you've done any research work on that. Is there any particular piece of research you can speak to?
We've done a lot of research. We have also partnered with several partners, including biocarbon, partners, who I also sit on that board. Their role is preserving the forests, preserving the biomass, the ecosystem, and then of course you attract carbon credits for that. So yes, we've partnered with them. We've done research. We've looked at how can we have small stoves, which then can help households not using charcoal to stop cutting, the trees. So IAPRI partnered. In fact, we are contracted as IAPRI to do that research, for them. We also work very closely with the Ministry of Green Economy. In Zambia, Green Economy is the one that deals, specific ministry dealing with climate change, issues. We work with them extremely closely. We are like part of them. Meanwhile, we're independent. We're a private, institution. And whenever the ministry goes for this COP, there's the climate change COP in Brazil. There's another one which was in Dubai, and so on. They'll always ask us to accompany them. So there'll be one or two of us who would go with them, who would be discussing issues, but ours, it would be more of research work that we feed within the Ministry of Green Economy. So we are very much involved in climate change research work, mostly for policy change.
What's the current climate change situation in Zambia? What are you seeing?
Well, just like to tell you the truth, like it's happening here, I've just noticed since I came. Uh, we have all sorts of, like before I came here that very week, last week, we had Cyclone Gezani. Cyclone Gezani brought in a lot of floods and we lost a lot of property and also human beings. It originated from Mozambique through Malawi and the eastern part, of Zambia. So we've had these, droughts, floods, cyclones, and all sorts of vagaries that come with such, drought and floods. If you recall, in 2024, we had the worst drought in the history of Zambia, and I think Zimbabwe also, and Malawi. It has never been like that. There was just nothing. Animals died, rivers dried. It has never happened. And these have become frequent. Like every other year, there's something going wrong to the point that we're not even sure when does the season start? When does it end? So it's no more reliable. So yes, we need to invest in climate change moving forward.
Is it a conversation that's easily acceptable in Zambia, or do you have a lot of people saying that's not true?
No, I think there's total unison as a country. We know there are problems with climate change, especially farmers at very low level. They don't even know. They keep on asking, can we plant now? Before, it was easy to know. As long as you are in, for us, our rains, we have one rainfall. Yeah, and like your colleagues, you're very lucky. You have bimodal rainfall system. So ours is one rain season. And normally starts in early November. Sometimes now it comes in December, maybe for a few days, then the dry spell. So you're not very sure whether to plant now. And when they ask you, even they think Honorable Kabaghe is an expert, I'm not sure how to guide them. So yes, it's real. And as I said, there's unison. Private sector, cooperating partners, government, we all know that climate change is here to stay. And it's a problem. And it's become more frequent. And therefore, we need to find solutions how to counteract this.
Are you finding that there's more uptake of these solutions? Are you finding that people are more receptive of the information on climate change? If they're not sure that when the rains are going to come, and you being a big farmer, how are you keeping track to know that let's plant, let's risk it,
Okay, so what really we are promoting, and I'm very happy that government is the one now which is taking the leadership in this one, is instead of always praying to God, please, if we could have rains, we are now investing in serious irrigation, from small scale right up to the top. Our big commercial farmers, that's not a problem. In fact, almost all of them, as long as you're a big commercial farmer, you have some form of irrigation. But it's our small-scale farmers who are really badly hit. And that's where now the government has really put systems to make sure that there are facilities for small-scale farmers to also have cheap and affordable financing for them to have basic irrigation. So that if it doesn't rain, for instance, they'll plant in maybe November, even when it hasn't rained, but under irrigation. And then when the rains come on, they switch off. The rains go, they again put them on. So since we have only one rainfall, period, the farmers now have the ability to do double cropping, even 3 croppings. Yeah, so every 3 months, 4 months, you produce something. Or you do your tomatoes. It has given a flexibility for a small-scale farmer to be more resilient and be food secure than ever before. But we are just starting. The majority of small-scale farmers do not have those facilities. So it's a task not only for government, it's a task for cooperating partners, it's a task for the private sector to make sure that we work together to have a more resilient small-scale farmer production and also household food security. That's extremely important moving forward.
So the week that we've been together in the north, I know that you pointed out irrigation, but I don't want to speak on your behalf. What have you seen? What have you seen in our farms?
I think it's an area you have a problem. There's no doubt. It's minimum to almost zero irrigation. And I think it's something that you have to adopt. It's something that you have to make deliberate, programs, deliberate, affordable financing for not every farmer, selected farmers, those that are farming as a business. It's very important that they are equipped with the irrigation. Yes, it was an eye-opener as we moved, especially the northern part of, I think I know the northern part of this country more than many Ugandans. Yeah, so it was really something that you see, because also you don't have a lot of land. Like in Zambia, we're very fortunate in that you have maybe 3 times the size, slightly more of, Uganda. And also our population is very small. We are only 20 million over almost close to 800,000 square, kilometers. So we are big. So one can have 1,000 hectares without blinking your eye. You can have, 10,000 hectares as an individual. So we have that, luxury. So when I went, that was another eye-opener when I came here. I could not see all these big farms with center pivots and so on. That's what you see in Zambia. If you go to Zambia, you go to Zimbabwe, you go to South Africa, these huge center pivots. One center pivot can even do 200 hectares at a go. But there are also small center pivots for people doing 5 hectares, 10 hectares. We don't speak in acres. we speak in hectares because this is bigger. It's much bigger. So, but that shouldn't be, to me, a problem. Because what then you need to do is to make sure that these small-scale farmers are more productive on that small piece of land. You see, if indeed your policies are put right, properly funded, proper technology given to a small-scale farmer, that the ones that we saw together up there, they can immediately double, even triple their production. It's amazing that the majority of them use very little to no fertilizer at all.
You kept speaking about this 3%. Please speak about it. The 3% usage for Uganda.
Yes, literature is there that the average usage per hectare is 3 kilograms. When in actual fact, ideally minimum should be 200. In this particular case, you are saying maybe 100 D, which is basil dressing, another 100. No, it's more than that, actually. It's supposed to be 200 top dressing and 200 basil dressing. So basically, you are talking of 400 kgs, but you are doing only average of 3 kg. I think, Josephine, the problem that I've also noticed in this country is that there's this notion that
our land is fertile.
Our lands are fertile.
Yes, you just throw a seed there and it
will
grows.
just grow and so on. No, it may have been correct 20, 30, 40 years ago. But you see, once you continue using the same piece of land year in, year out, it loses its nutrients. And you need to enrich the soils. And also when you want to produce enough for your household and also for selling, you need to double your yields. So you cannot depend on a notion that our soils are good. I mean, the average production we were taught by some very authoritative people were that per acre, we produce about 500 to 600 kgs. Come on, that's a disaster. That basically means that per hectare, you are producing about 1 ton. When a hectare, you should be producing 10 and above, tons per hectare. That's what is happening in other countries. That is happening even in this country for those who are using proper agronomical practices. But also what I found lacking is that a farmer may be interested to really plant good certified seed, but it's not available.
Yeah.
You remember, we went to they were complaining that, yes, you are chairman of Seedgo East Africa, but in Uganda we don't have any seed.
And we have a lot of counterfeit.
Yes, that's a disaster. And that must be controlled because, Josephine is really killing a small-scale farmer where he or she thinks she has planted proper seed, she has even put some fertilizer. Meanwhile, the seed is counterfeit, it's fake. In fact, that's a better word. It's fake seed. And unfortunately, there's also a lot of faking counterfeit fertilizer. So somebody has bought seed which is not right, fertilizer which is not right. The crop reaches this level. It is yellow even after applying fertilizer and it's tasseling. And even the cob that comes, a small baby that comes. And this person goes scot-free. It's not right. I think we need to put laws that are stringent, laws that are strict, laws that will punish those who cheat, especially small-scale farmers. It is also common in Zambia, especially our kind of seed, Seedco seed. It's probably the most preferred seed in Zambia and also the region, and people fake that seed. They will make sure that they go to people who are making you packaging. The lot numbers will be nicely written, everything is clean, packaging is right, and the color nicely, whether it's green or brown, nicely done. You cannot doubt it when sold to you. And normally, they will not be selling to enlightened people. They go out into the rural areas.
To the smallholder.
To the smallholder, the ones that we saw. And then reduce marginally the price for them.
You say that now in Zambia, there's a lot of policy around that to protect the smallholder farmer.
Absolutely.
What would you advise for policy here in Uganda? I know that some of the farmers we're speaking to said, yes, they're arresting some of these people, but what tough measures have you put in place in Zambia? You
see, our president, President Hakainde Hichilema, he comes from a farming area and has seen the bad effect of rustling, stealing animals, and also fake fertilizer and seed. So the Minister of Agriculture about 3 weeks ago, he said he was going to introduce a law in the parliament where if you sell and you are found selling counterfeit seed or fertilizer or any input, could be chemicals, for agriculture, the offense is non-bailable. Immediately we hear that Josephine has done this, you are going to the cells until you're proved innocent.
Maybe say William, not Josephine.
And not only that, Josephine, it's non-bailable. And the minimum sentence, if you are found guilty, is 7 years. It's just a strong deterrent measure. This is something that has happened, that is already a law for livestock. Livestock, you go in for 14 years for rustling, for stealing people's livestock. You go for 14 years. So someone of thieves start withdrawing. So though you may have, we were told, I think, which was the guru, where we're told that, we've done some good work and some people have been arrested. But where was that?
That was in Lira, I think.
Lira. It was Lira. It was where we had the Agro Dealers Association.
Yes, it was Lira.
Yeah, it was Lira. So Lira, great job. But they may go in for less than a year and they're out. And there's also a fine, which we're happy they said now they are not going to pay the fine, I think some amount of money. But the court just said, no, let's lock them up. But then you people in the media, you need now to have this word go around. Whereas the government is trying to find another way of making the punishment stiffer than it has been today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You spoke earlier about our fertilizer usage, and was there ever a point where even in Zambia the farmers were not big on fertilizer? And if ever there was that time, what changed?
Again, agriculture policies. We have a bimodal agricultural system in Zambia. We have big commercial farmers, as I said earlier on. These are very big. It's precision farming. They're in huge tractors like the ones you find in the States, you find in Canada, wherever. Those, you don't have to talk. They know the technology. They know how to respond. They know how to put their fertilizer, seed, and so on. Then have the small-scale farmers.
Those ones, their money is at risk.
Yes.
They can't afford to play.
No. They're farming commercially.
Yeah.
And they'll get big loans. And the banks trust them. And they always pay these big commercial farmers. Then of our small-scale farmers, who are in millions, who I keep on saying they don't farm as a business. But they are the people we want to serve as government and cooperating, partners. So in Zambia, we have several programs tailored specifically for those farmers. Our extension system is working, though not to the level that you would be comfortable with. Unfortunately, that's a disease, not only in Southern Africa, but also in East Africa here. Yes, you may have a physical person in a given area as a government extension officer, but it does not have operational tools. The vehicle is not there. The motorbike, maybe the tire is punctured. And technically, they just sit. So, because our private sector is very vibrant in agriculture, meaning like us as seed company, my company in Zambia and what we're also doing in Tanzania is that we have employed hundreds of extension staff. We call them agronomists. They are in the field, and they will make sure that they carry a government extension officer with them. So that has helped. And if you go to Zambia during the rainy season, you cannot pass more than 2 kilometers without seeing a demonstration plot. It will be a fertilizer company. It will be seed companies. As I said, we have over 35 companies. We compete in a very healthy environment. And also for Zambia, it has become too small a market for us. So some companies just going to Zambia because of the good policies to produce for the region. So many farmers have adopted good agronomical practices. And now we have a third leg that has developed of farmers. Earlier on, I talked about commercial.
Big commercial.
And
smallholder farmers.
But now we've seen what we call now emergent commercial farmers. And many of them are a person like Josephine who has some bit of excess money. It's much easier for Josephine to really 1 acre or 2 acres, buy proper seed, fertilizer, buy chemicals, and produce much better. You can afford to do that. And you'll be doing that for you as a business. And with climate change, problem of climate change, you need farmers who will take advantage of the various technologies that have been developed because they don't want to lose. They are counting, am I going to make money or not? What should I do in order for me to continue in business? So you are the people who are now coming as emergent commercial farmers. But they're busy also imparting knowledge to their colleagues who are. That has helped with policies in Zambia.
And also mindset shifts.
But also not only that. Government has deliberately put what we call Farmer Input Support Program. FISIP, Farmer Input Support Program. And I'm proud to say that I was the one who introduced it. And it's now become an e-voucher delivery. So, I'll call now William. So, if William is a small-scale farmer, and before we were using cooperatives and farmer associations, and we realized that many of them became politicized. They were taking advantage of small-scale farmers who were genuine farmers. Now we register William as an individual, Josephine as an individual. We give you a voucher. The voucher may be 1 million shillings, like is the case here. That voucher, we restrict it for you for agriculture. You can buy whatever inputs you want. We don't decide for you, because you may be a livestock farmer. You may be a crop farmer or whatever. You may be in chickens, you may be in dairy, so within that voucher, you can buy whatever you want. But we emphasize that you also use agronomical practices. Time to plant, spacing of your planting, which is called the population in a given piece of land. So I think these policies have made Zambia now to be fully self-sufficient, and we're becoming a key net exporter of various crops. You may also have heard that apart from being key in the seed industry, we're also becoming key in the fertilizer industry. Because if your policies are not right, big investors will not come in with money, private investors. So Zambia has become like a darling now for agriculture in investment. People with machinery, tractors, and what have you, they are now there. Fertilizer, I said, seed, I said, mention it. All big seed companies in the world, the Monsanto, these Ssekirandas of this world, they are in Zambia competing on the ground.
Who is pulling the most weight between the private sector and government in supporting smallholder farmers' resilience to climate change?
I think both.
Both.
Why am I saying both? It's both because government has made facilitating policies, positive policies, that do not undermine the investment of the private sector. Just as we are talking, government is working on 3 key policies to make in the agriculture investment even more positive for the private sector. One of them is reforming the Food Reserve Agency that you talked about, and I was the founding chief executive of the Food Reserve Agency. Sometimes it outclouds the private sector. Because, for instance, last year, they bought 1.8 million tons of maize. So the grain traders just folded their arms. They're not any longer interested because government bought most of the maize. So now we are going to reform the Food Reserve Agent Act itself so that it's more friendly to the private sector. Let them just keep a small strategic reserve, properly calculated, and also well understood when it could be released, not to disturb the private sector. The second one is what we call the Agricultural Marketing Act. We are going to have a marketing council of private sector and government, or Ssekiranda, agricultural council, that will from time to time be sending signals to the private sector and government what is happening in terms of marketing. Then the third one is what we call agricultural credit and the warehouse receipt system. That one will make the operations of the commodity exchange, agricultural commodity exchange for Zambia, legally and commercially viable. What this is going to happen that we are all over the country. We are going, especially in rural areas, we are going to have warehouses, certified warehouses by an authorizing, authority that certifies on behalf of government. And then we have the commodity exchange. So a small-scale farmer in Guru, this small-scale farmer maybe will give maize because he may not have a lot of maize to put in a certified warehouse. There will be what we call aggregators. They will buy from a small-scale farm and put in a certified warehouse. That certified warehouse, the document, the receipt they give you, is actually a bankable document. They will give you money as long as the crop is in a certified warehouse. It will also indicate the quality of your maize that is in the warehouse. So we have done all this to make it easier for agriculture to move forward.
Was Zambia hurt in a big way? Especially your work around smallholder farmers and climate change. Was it hurt in a big way by USAID?
Well, I think the cut would have really come from policy institutions like IAPRI. Yes, IAPRI for a long time was a darling of United States in terms USAID in terms of funding policy research work. The second one was, of course, SIDA, Swedish, SIDA. So these two were very key to build IAPRI to where it came to now help come. That has been withdrawn. But those who are operating within the country, including government, have realized that they cannot do away without that. Yeah. So they are now the ones who are giving consultancies to this institution, and they pay. They pay for it. So it has continued being viable.
Okay. I thought I'd throw that in, but I wanted to talk about the National Food Reserve and just draw from your experience.
Yes.
What are the two smartest things that a country can do to protect its smallholder farmers from climate-driven shortages without killing the market incentives that farmers need to keep producing?
Now, the worst thing you can do is to make farmers not be profitable. Now, what do I mean by the farmer not being profitable? You see, they spend money in their seed and fertilizer. And if the market is not available for them, you are basically killing them.
That's true.
So government, when it comes in, for Zambia, it will now be Food Reserve Agency coming to buy from you as a small-scale farmer. They will make sure they buy at a price that is economic to the farmer. But if you as a farmer, you are still not happy with it, you are free to sell to anybody else. So policies that the government puts in place should be facilitative to a small-scale farmer progressing. Big commercial farmers, those government role does not affect them so much because they can export, they can work on the commodity exchange itself. But a small-scale farmer has got nothing, they don't have the capacity to go to the commodity exchange.
Again, from your vantage point in the seed and the fertilizer space, what would make an input system truly climate resilient for smallholder farmers, especially when, the rains are unpredictable and farmers cannot afford to have a failed season?
Yeah. So again, private sector investment. For the seed business, we have bred varieties, which are climate smart varieties. We have what we call the ultra early seed maturing variety called 313. In the area where we went, where it is warm up there, within 60 days, the crop is ready. So even if the season is short, the rains go, you still have a harvest. In Zambia recently, I talked earlier on about the Gezani, the cyclone that hit that area. People lost their crops. That was in January. But fortunately, my company, Sidco, carries reserves of that variety, just in case there's a calamity, and there was a calamity. So I had to release that maize after they had already planted. So they had to replant after 1 month. The crop is now like that in height. So they have not lost. They will still have it. It may not be optimal in terms of the output, but at least they will have
something.
Yeah. So those are what we call climate smart. But also we've seen in some areas where the rains become too much and extended. So we've also bred varieties which take long period, 130, 135 days, to maturity. So they are able to take advantage of the longer season. And these varieties, you should try seed corn. These varieties...
I'll tell you that I did buy 2 kilograms to try and plant.
You did?
I will give you feedback.
Please do. I mean, that's what I plant. So the truth of the pudding is in the eating. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so no, you cannot go wrong. So I was trying to say that even if we say the 719, which is the long one, it's an elephant. If you've seen an elephant. Yeah. You call it tembo here?
Tembo.
Yeah, tembo. It's so flexible. It's fungible. Whereas it is good for the high, rainfall areas, it will also perform well in the medium.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you still have a very good crop. Just in case the rains get shorter than you anticipated, you still have a good crop. But that requires a lot of investment in research and development, which area we've invested a lot of money. The same thing goes with, with the fertilizers. You see, we have fertilizers for small-scale farmers. We have fertilizers for big commercial farmers. Obviously, big commercial farmers, I talked about 400 being average. Them, they may put 500 or indeed 600, kgs per hectare. But it again varies. But to have maximum yield in this country, we have just completed our exercise in Zambia, is to make sure for climate, because of climate change, to sample this whole country, the soils.
Soil testing.
Yeah, soil testing. So that we don't have a blanket that, it will be D-compound, it will be urea as standard since independence. 40 years ago, we used the same formula, predetermined, where in actual fact, the deficiencies around the country are totally different. The soils for Guru will be different from soils in the eastern part of the country. So we need to have fertilizers bred for different agroecological zone of the country. You do that, you have good seed, good fertilizer, good chemicals. I can assure you, Josephine and William there, that you'll become, within a year, a big commercial farmer.
Zambia is often mentioned as a country that's shaping how carbon markets work.
Yeah, correct.
If we strip this down to real life, how can carbon finance genuinely reward smallholder farmers for climate smart farming and protecting forests without communities feeling shortchanged or locked into deals that they don't understand?
Okay, a very good question. Yes, we are now becoming one of the key examples in Africa, maybe the world, especially least developed countries. We have become now big in carbon credits. Initially, it was just private sector and one or two companies doing that. And being new technology, nobody understood what carbon credits, are all about. So in a nutshell, carbon credits is basically people who are polluting. These are big like Shell, BP, and so on, and some countries. They'll say it's difficult for us to stop polluting. But if you can quantify to us what we are polluting, you can conserve into carbon. We are ready to buy. So it's like, please forgive us, but we'll pay.
We'll forgive us. We're not about to stop sinning, but we'll pay for this.
We'll pay for this so that it helps you to create more carbons. So in that space, a few international companies came into Zambia. maybe one local and maybe two international companies. I think Zambian government realized that maybe the small-scale farmers were being shortchanged because they were being told, don't cut, and only a few were benefiting. And also, people didn't understand the formula. How are carbon credits?
How does all of this work?
Yeah, up to now, many even top qualified, educated people don't understand. It's a new area. Now, I had to learn a lot myself when I came onto the board of the biocarbon, credit. But what the Zambian government has done is they've got what we call a jurisdiction. It is funded by the World Bank with the Zambian government as a partner. And they have curved certain areas, in particular this time, the eastern part of the country, as a model, where they themselves are like the key players. And once the carbon credits are now given to Zambian government, there's a formula worked out how much, say, if government is using you as a private sector, you are the one who is on the ground. You have a chief. You have the community. The community are farmers. So there's a proportionate ratio where you are saying, you, Josephine, a biocarbon credit company, you can only get, say, 40% of the total carbon credit that you've gotten in US dollars. They are normally in US dollars. The community can only get so much because they're also helping to conserve. So we're seeing positive results that now communities are happy because each farmer has a benefit from it. And it's now helping them not to keep on cutting trees because they know they'll benefit come end of the year from conserving those forests and the ecosystem existing. Is that a good explanation?
I have so many follow-up questions, but I know that our time is fast spent. So just, again, two more questions.
Good.
The entire week, everyone you've spoke to, I've heard you say, I want us to treat smallholder farmers as businessmen and businessmen that are facing a climate risk. So skin in the game. They must own, what they're doing.
Yeah.
I want you to speak to that again and just help us understand how we make or encourage these people to be businessmen and women.
Yeah. Yes. Wherever I've gone, I've talked about it because it's not unique to this country, also Zambia. We've been working on it for quite some time. You see, we have this notion in our mind that as long as you're on the land, some land, which automatically you'll be on some land, especially as you think you're a farmer. You're a businessman. You're farming. No, not every farmer is a businessman. That's why small-scale farmers have remained small all their life. They don't change because they're not farming as a business. And under climate change conditions, you cannot farm the way our forefathers used to farm.
I thought you'd give that example of the shop.
Yes.
It made so much sense to me. I'd love for you to share it.
I will. Excuse me. I always give an example of a farmer in the village. He calls himself a farmer. He has got some bags of maize, some rice, and so on. But he's not farming as a business. But he will have a small shop on the side. Maybe even by the house or by across the road, he's got a small shop where he has some biscuits, some box of matches, some chewing gum, and so on. Very small. Less than 200,000 shillings. That to him or her is business. You cannot even get one chewing gum without paying for it. But if when it comes to rice or matoke or maize, he will just get a bag of maize, get a bag of that. Because to him or her, cropping is not business. But my small shop there, that's business. Unfortunately, that's the These are people who inherited, they sit on the land where their fathers used to stay and so on. And that has become now a social thing rather than business. In fact, some of them, they're on that land and they do a bit of farming. They're not, but they're carpenters. Carpenter work, that's the business. So we have put everyone who sits on some land as a business person. So my call is to make sure that we move these people, we train them, private sector, corporate impact, and government, to start training these people to start farming as a business. Only then, Josephine, can they withstand the vagaries of climate change, because they'll now start taking advantage of these developed technologies that are there for them to avert the bad effects of climate change. Like we said, good seed, proper certified seed, bought from established agro dealer. If the area is too dry, make sure you are buying the 419, Seedco 419, or Seedco 303. If you are in areas in the highlands, then you go for Tembo. Because then you are already, your mind, you are farming as a business.
Last night, you were at the award ceremony for cohort 3 and 4 of the Uganda Climate Innovation Fund pioneers.
Yes.
You saw all of these technologies that they've come up with, these pioneers. What was exciting for you, if anything at all?
It was very exciting. It is very good initiative by Climate Smart Jobs. To me, even in Zambia, we don't have anything like that. I'm telling you, it's a very good initiative where young people, I didn't say anybody as old as myself, these are young people demonstrating their what they have found, their innovations. And most of those innovations had to do with climate change. No, it was fantastic. Josephine is something that should be patting you back as a team at Palladium and did Climate Smart, jobs. I was thrilled. And those boys and girls, as they explained their technologies, I said, wow, this is well done. I was definitely very happy, and also being a key speaker at that very important award ceremony. So keep it up.
Thank you, Honorable. So Honorable Kabaghe is in Uganda at the invitation of the Climate Smart Jobs Project. Thank you once again for joining us on this episode of Climate Talk Uganda. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? A little nugget for us to chew on and meditate on. And
two messages. One, please make sure you have policies in place in agriculture that brings the private sector to invest in the country. That's number one. Good policies, we've seen it happen in Zambia. All big seed companies, all fertilizer companies, we don't mind. They're all competing because the policies are transparent. They're sustainable. Two, please train these small-scale farmers to start farming as a business. That's the only way forward for them to wake up and start making farming as profitable as possible for their own household food security, and also being able to sell the excess so that they can pay for school fees for their children, health facilities, and so on and so forth. You have solved a lot for this country. Not only for this country, because Uganda, you are known to be exporters, and you'll be exporting to many other regions in the country. God bless Uganda. God bless you. Thank you very much.
thank you, Honorable. Thank you for your expertise and all your reflections after a week on the ground in Uganda, and we hope we'll see you again very, very soon.
Yes.
I know that Seedco will be launching
in May.
In Uganda in May.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. I'll definitely be here in May launching Seedco Uganda.
Great.